Welcome to today's lecture again. Let me start with a note of appreciation. I want to really thank those of you who have subscribed to this channel and those of you who have been sending comments, and your messages to me. I appreciate you so much. Please keep on subscribing, keep on, dropping your messages. Some of you have asked me to do videos in specific areas. Of course, I will oblige you, at the right time. And so we go to today's lecture, which is the nature of academic research. Many of us are involved in academic research, as students in graduate school, in undergraduate, level, and then we want to do academic research, but what exactly is academic research? And so in this lecture, I want to take you to the nature of academic research. I will give you some features of academic research. Then at the end of it all, I'm going to raise some questions and ask you to think through those questions, which will help you develop your research proposal or your research idea. Even if you have already developed one, then you can use these questions to evaluate your research idea or your proposal. So let's go on straight to the business of today. So the first thing about academic research is this: it involves a critical inquiry into an unknown or partially known phenomena. So we go to do research to find out what we don't know. Something is unknown or partially unknown or partially known, and then we want to go and find out, about it. So and it's a critical inquiry. It is not an opinion you have. You do a critical inquiry. And then academic research is driven by a problem, a research problem. I've talked about before in one of the videos. There are questions to be asked, and those questions must be answered. The questions to be asked are your research questions. They must be answered in the research. Or maybe you develop hypothesis which needs to be validated or negated, through the research. And then academic research requires specific methods of design and investigation. You don't just go and do research on your own terms, your own ideas of how to gather information. You must follow specific design, established design. Is it a qualitative research? Is it quantitative? Is this a mixed method? If it's qualitative, what kind of qualitative research? What kind of methods, are established in my discipline to gather information? So, and that's why I say the scientific, methods of investigation, scientific methods of designing your research. You don't do it arbitrarily. And then academic research involves information gathering. You gather information, but also it goes beyond information gathering. It involves analysis. So when you gather information, which we call data, they need to be analyzed for them to make sense. So the analysis of the information you gather, or the data that you have gone to gather, we produce what we call your research findings. And these research findings are directly related to your research questions which you asked before, or the hypothesis which you have developed, at the beginning of your work. And then the research findings will lead you to some conclusion, So based on this research finding and this and that, one can safely conclude that, we can conclude that. And then the conclusion will form the basis of an intellectual argument or the basis of theorization. The conclusion is also where your contribution to knowledge is, in the contribution in the conclusion. That's where your contribution to knowledge is, because every academic research must bring something new to the table, which we call the contributions to knowledge. So having said all of this about the nature of academic research, now I want to pose some questions to you. Now you are going to ask yourself, I want you to think through these questions. The first one is this: is what I'm researching known, unknown, or partially known? If it is known, you have no business doing research. If it's unknown or partially known, then you have some business. Then what is known and what is unknown or partially known? And why is it important for people to know about what you are researching? That's very important. The so what question. So what? That's very important. And then 2 is this: what is the problem driving your research, and what questions will you be asking? So if you turn it around, you say, what problem is driving my research and what questions will I be asking? Very important. And then you want to find out what research methods, research design and methods of data gathering will be appropriate for this research, because there are many, according to disciplines, according to your topic of investigation. So which ones are appropriate for me, And then you want to ask yourself, what information will I be looking for? And where is the information? Who has it? How do I get my information? Because when you design a research project, you want to know where the sources of data will come from and who are your resource persons or your informants. And then you want to think about, how will I analyze the information or the data? In other words, what would be my methods of data analysis? And then how will I use my research findings to frame an intellectual argument? Because if you just go and gather data and put them there and all of that, you need to develop an intellectual argument from your research. That's the point you're making, the thesis of your thesis. And finally, what would likely be my contribution to knowledge from this research? It's not enough to gather information and put them on paper. What is new? What will be the contribution to knowledge from this research? So these are some of the ideas I have, and I hope they are useful to you. As usual, I want you to, put down your comments, ask questions, and I also want you to, share with your colleagues, with your friends, and keep on subscribing, keep on watching. I put a playlist here in the description, where all my other videos are placed, and so you can go and check out the playlist. Thank you, and see you in another video.